What's up, whiskey friends? Got one poured up right here. One of the few Islay whiskeys that is unpeated. So normally when you think of Islay whiskey, think of smoke, brine, that medicinal kind of burnt peat note. Well, this is Bunnahabhain 12 year, one of the few unpeated Islay whiskeys for the core range. That's what we got today, guys. Check it out. Bunnahabhain 12 year. So some unpeated Islay greatness. So usually, like I said, usually when you think of smoky whiskey, you think of Islay whiskey. Well, this one happens to be unpeated, so you're not getting the smoky brine note, which will probably be like I guess it'd be a good step into Islay for a bourbon drinker. But people who like Scotch, usually the peat doesn't bother them. Once you get acclimated to Scotch whiskey, you start wanting to taste some peated Scotch whiskey after a while. But this one is unpeated. It says on the back, so the distillery actually they started making whiskey in 1881, long time ago. It says it's aged 12 years, matured in sherry, bourbon, and whiskey cask. So ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and then undisclosed whiskey casks. For a tranquil balance of soft, sweet fruit and nuts with a hint of seaside smoke. But although it's unpeated, it says seaside smoke. But we'll get into it and see what we got. But if you look at the color of it, it really does look like a bourbon. If I didn't tell you what was in it, I'd guess bourbon. Most of the Scotch I've had, especially for a 12, I think a lot of times with it being ex-sherry, the sherry cask whiskeys are a little darker. If you get an ex-sherry Scotch, it's a little bit darker than like an ex-bourbon Scotch. But 12 years old, natural color. So let's get into it, guys. So, man, really sweet on the nose. Toffee and fruits. Chocolate. Almost like a breadiness, kind of maltiness. And you get that seaside salt, like a coastal salty note. A lot of dark notes, dark fruit, dark chocolate. And a nice little coastal brine in there. But the fruit's even dark. It's not any light fruits. Like sometimes you get, I know I get it with Scotch. I get like a pear, almost like a apricot. It's almost like a stone fruit. Pear, apple. This one is like more dark, like raisins. Not really berries, but I would say like stewed fruit, like raisins, or even if you have like spiced stewed pears, as opposed to like fresh fruit, like fresh pears. Let's get into the taste, guys. Cheers. Very complex taste. Almost mimics the nose a little bit. Right when you taste it, you get the sweet toffee. You start getting that chocolate note in there with that malty note, and then that salty brine's there also. Light on the spice, but the spices kind of come in there after you initially get the sweetness. Let's get another taste. Man, to me, it's with the salt and that brine and that bready note, you almost get like it tastes like chocolate salted pretzels. Sounds crazy, but with those notes together, that's what it tastes like. So you're getting like a dark fruit with the raisins. You get that raisiny sweetness, but like think of toffee, seaside salt with that bready kind of pretzel taste, and the chocolate salted pretzels is really what you get with that taste of raisins. I don't get a whole lot of smoke. I know it says light smoke on the notes on the bottle, but with that, I mean, I don't know. I've tasted a lot of smoky whiskeys. I don't taste smoke in this one. Matter of fact, I've gotten a hint of smoke from a bourbon more than I get smoke from this, but definitely like seaside coastal notes. And I'm thinking maybe whenever they say smoke on this, that's probably what they're getting at is that seaside coastal note. That's definitely there. It's great. Like I said, spices come in about mid palate, almost gets herbal about mid palate, and then the finish is pretty good. We'll get another taste on. Let's get to the finish. Spices going in. Light oak on the last bit of the taste. Pretty lengthy, long finish on this. So a 12-year whiskey. Almost almonds. Toasted almonds and oak towards the end of the finish. It carries on kind of with the spice towards the end. Really good whiskey. I'll be honest with you guys. This one stays on the shelf for me. So if there's any indication of what the score will be on this, I love it. So it stays on the shelf all the time. It's hard to get. You're going to find this one usually in a whiskey shop. I've never seen it in a grocery store too much, but just a designated liquor store or wine shop. That's where you find Bunnahabhain. So I go to Little Rock to get it, or you can order them online. I've seen them in places in New Orleans, but I've never seen them like in a smaller town like Thibodeau, Houma, or here in Searcy, Arkansas. But it's really good. Couyons rating on it, 8.75. Like, it barely stays out the 9s for me. I love this whiskey. This one, actually, you can't tell because it's iconic dark bottle, but it ain't got much in it. But it's kept its flavor through the times I've had it. So whiskey lasts for a while until you start getting a lot of air in it. The flavors have changed, but before it gets to that point, I usually finish them off. But I'm probably gonna finish the end of this bottle. Just sitting here watching the wind blow, watching the weather kick in. I'll probably finish that. But price point on it, usually around $66, which is pretty good for a 12-year whiskey. Like in the bourbon world, for a 12-year bourbon, you paying some money for that. You might pay well above $66, but I don't know. Scotch is 12 years. You just touching the age on a Scotch on 12 years. But that being said, this is great 12-year whiskey. $66. Honestly, $70. If you get it in a store, it's probably $69.99. So you probably pay about $70. Online, it's $66, but then you pay for shipping. So you're really paying a little bit more if you get it online, whereas just picking up $70 on the store. So we'll just call it $70. But even though 8.75 for that for $7, great complex whiskey, lots of flavors, very sweet, a little bit challenging with the coastal notes to it. That you would get a little herbal coastal notes, but I think for a bourbon drinker, if you was primarily drinking bourbon and you wanted to get into Islay Scotch, this would be the first one I tried. This or Bruichladdich. But if you're into more sherry whiskeys, I'd go with this one. But that's what we got today, guys. Check us out on more videos. We got a lot coming in the pipeline. Whiskey Couyons, like us, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.